Hi guys. So I just got back from seeing The Strangers Chapter 1, which is a remake of The Strangers, which is a film that I absolutely love. Um I think it's one of the creepiest movies ever made. I hear a lot of people are also on my side and absolutely love it, and I wore my Strangers t-shirt to this. Um but so I hear people gripe about the first one. Oh, the characters are dumb. I mean, they are kind of dumb, but still, the movie's really tense. Really, it gets to you, and it's something that can happen. It gets to you, and I really enjoyed it, and I still enjoy rewatching it. The second one, the Strangers Pray at Night thing, was not good. I did not like that one. But now we have The Strangers Chapter 1, a remake to The Strangers, which now they have a trilogy um, that is going to be coming out. I think the second one later this year, and I think the third one in 2025. So, um, this being a remake of The Strangers, um, how did I think it lived up to the first one? Because usually with remakes, I tend to be pretty good on them. There are some that I think are pretty bad, but usually I actually do find remakes to mostly be better, honestly. But this is a movie that is not even that old, and I'm hearing some very negative reception to this movie, like very negative reception. It's directed by Rennie Harlan, which is kind of a mixed bag of a director for people. So, what did I think? I didn't think it was as bad as people were saying, and I'd say it's probably a little bit better than the Stranger. I'd say it's a little bit better than the Strangers Pray at Night, but overall, I'm disappointed because I was like really, really looking forward to this, and I love the first Strangers movie. This is just kind of like a really mediocre rehashing of it. With it's nowhere near as scary as the first one, and the characters are even dumber here. Now, I'm going to say The Strangers is only like 15 years old and is a big cult following for, myself. Now, something I was really hoping to find out is getting some insight on the information in The Strangers that was left out, but we don't get any of that. Now, before I go on with the rest of my thoughts, really I'm gonna reference one of my favorite horror movies in recent memory, and this is a film that just came out last year, and it's a remake of a pretty cult classic movie, and that is Malum. So now Malum is obviously a remake of Last Shift from 2014, and I find Malum to be a lot better than Last Shift because, well, one, it's bigger budget, so it has better actors in it, and it's a lot better effects. Like, the effects in that movie, if you've seen that movie, the effects are stunning. And it's also scarier than Last Shift because, like I said, the effects are just stunning to look at, and the movie feels like, a cross between The Void or Baskin, and just really has that surreal vibe to it where you're just watching this place plunge it into a demonic otherworld. And all three of those movies are all demonic cult movies, so it really is great that I referenced that. And also, Malum explains to you a lot of the things that were left out of Last Shift, and it explains them so well, and it's super interesting, and that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love that movie. That, and also, obviously, phenomenal effects in it, but that is one of the reasons why I think Malum is a lot better than Last Shift. Don't get me wrong, Last Shift is still good, but I prefer to just keep rewatching Malum because it's I've already went over it, but it explains to you more and has very stunning effects and is super intense. But now that I referenced that, we're gonna look at this, where The Strangers Chapter One. Um, as far as how it's made, the actors in this movie, they're fine. Like, they're not terrible. I feel like the acting in the original was definitely better. The acting in here felt a little bit strange. I hear a lot of people say the acting felt like the CW channel, which is ironic because one of the actresses actually is plays the Riverdale, which is a CW show. And the acting, it's fine, and as the film made on a technical standpoint is fine. Um, but I would say this film is nowhere near as scary as the first one, which is what I, said at the beginning of this video. And that's because they just do all of the things that the first one did, but they don't do it in a suspenseful way. Like, okay, so I'm gonna say, spoilers, even though if you're watching this, you've seen the original Strangers, but if you haven't, this is your little warning. But I'm pretty sure everyone watching this has seen the original Strangers. But a lot of the scenes that made the first one so creepy and so, terrifying to watch, are the scenes where, the guy is his friend is coming into the house, and then the baghead guy is just like walking behind him with an axe as this like really eerie country song plays, and then his friend just like shoots him in the face. And it's effective when you see that movie for the first time. It's like really effective, and it's still kind of effective when you rewatch it to this day. In this movie, they recreate like the same thing, but it's like there's no suspense to it whatsoever. It's like, oh, there's a guy. He sees a guy, and then he just shoots him, thinking that's one of the killers, and oh, nope, it's somebody else. No suspense built whatsoever, and that was kind of lame. I mean, obviously, the look of the strangers, they're obviously great looking in this movie. I mean, come on. They're good looking. But just this movie is not as nowhere near as scary as the first one, and that was a major disappointment for me, because a lot of it is just the same things that you've seen in the first one, but just nowhere near as scary because it doesn't build the suspense like the first one did. And also, like I said about the information thing, this movie, obviously, since this is going to be made into a trilogy, I didn't expect it to give a ton of information. So this isn't really spoilers. They don't explain shit. Like at all. Not even a little bit of like insight. Maybe you can like catch a little bit near the end, but just there's like pretty much nothing. And I mean, I'll give it this. Like the post credit scene in this movie does kind of like leave you somewhat interested in like where this next one's gonna go. But I don't know. As of right now, I'm just kind of blah on this. I didn't think it was terrible, and I thought it was a little better than that Pray at Night movie. But I don't know. It's just a mediocre version of an already great movie that is just, you know, who knows? Maybe the next two will be actually great. Who knows? They might be. But as of right now, as this movie stands on its own, it just remains like a mediocre version of an already great movie that you could just go watch at your house rather than having to pay money to go see it in the theater. So that's what I'd say. If you've seen The Strangers Chapter 1, let me know what you think about it. And as always, subscribe to me to see more horror and thriller reviews.